Hello and Assalamualaikum. My name is Nona Jo Inshira, and today me and my partner Azlin Ramli will be discussing on the case study about Csi and genetic fingerprinting. Let me give a little bit of introduction. DNA fingerprinting is a laboratory method or technique that is used to connect biological evidence to a criminal suspect in a criminal investigation. When a suspect is identified, a DNA sample from that suspect may be matched to the evidence recovered from the crime scene. The comparison from the result may help to determine if the suspect committed to the crime. In the 1980s, researchers found that most human DNA shows a little variation from one person to another. Using the blueprint of a suspect to indicate their identity has been used since 1985. It has been used since then to prove that suspects were involved in crimes and to free people who are wrongfully convicted. The DNA is a biological molecule. It is long, twisted, double helix, and a blueprint of everything in your body. Firstly, research funding institutions get credit and financial benefits. Despite the fact that Alex Jeffrey discovered and invented DNA fingerprinting, the listed institute that supported and funded the study earned a substantial earning from genetic fingerprinting. Secondly, development of important scientific discovery. Alex Jeffrey stated that lasers, nuclear, magnetic resonance, semiconductors, nanostructures, and other technological and medical importance are originated in basic physical research. Thirdly, new technological product development often takes a long time because of the amount of leverage needed. For example, the development of Viagra took 13 years from the laboratory to the marketplace, and the financial institution nearly abandoned it because the declining of return on investment. In this way, basic research contributes to the development of platforms, ideas, and new discoveries that enable the growth of new technologies. Next, indirect research acts as a push factor and brings out curiosity for researchers to do more. It explores the nature and place within it and leads to the practical benefits to the society that can be commercialized. Last but not least, it encourages scientists and researchers to focus more on the concept of the research itself without having to worry about the market or commercialization of their discoveries. We think research should be linked to businesses and products. Sir Allied in 1984 stated a clear indication of an indirect research which negates the primary purpose for research development by funding institutions and sponsors like Lister. Since firms have short period time with competition and shareholders waiting for their return on investments, it became more difficult for firms to invest in research that takes a long time. But if linked with products and business, it will provide firms with inventions idea, innovate into a new product and business with prediction of profitable market directions and time frames. In order to become a leader in industry, firms have to link their research to products and business while at the same time do a research for curiosity-driven research. This case shows how radical changes can have impact on the way criminals are prosecuted. Until the A result came along, most judges used concrete evidence like fingerprints to convict a person. Fingerprints can have a lot of disadvantages that can make judges misjudge the suspects. From hair to sweat, DNA can be taken. This has a big impact on how the police work at the crime scene and how the prosecution can use many different types of evidence in court. At the same time, this case shows how DNA analysis technology has changed over time and how it has become more better. Then, the DNA result could have taken months, but now it can be done in few days or weeks. This is because of small changes that have been made over time. Although Alex Jeffrey discovered the technology behind fingerprinting under his employer and funding institution, which is Lister Institute, neither both of them were able to make financial gain, no fame. However, ICI, a chemical company, bought the patent from Lister Institute and formed a company called Selma Diagnostic to commercially exploit the technology, and it earned name recognition and was extremely successful and profitable over the next 2 decades. This clearly shows that scientific discovery itself rarely produces fame nor fortune. It is the application of this science that usually leads to fortune and to a lesser extent fame.
Hi everyone, I am Azlin and I will continue with question 5. explain why the adoption of technology in this case seems to have happened very quickly. In hindsight, after the end of World War II in 1930, forensic science was more generally acknowledged for its effectiveness in crime investigation, both by the police and general public. DNA profiling has become the most important advancement in forensic science till today, and the Forensic Science Service, or FSS, was the first to develop and apply DNA profiling technology. Some cases that use this DNA fingerprinting and profiling include case of Sarba versus the Home Office, 1985. The case required identifying and proving Christina Sarbar's biological relationship with her son Andrew. Second case is the case of Colin Pitchfork, rape and murder of 2 young girls. He's been convicted after being caught talking about the convincing a friend to provide a sample on his behalf. Third case is the murder case of 16-year-old girl, Colette Aram, by Paul Hutchinson. During the 25th anniversary of the case, it was discovered that the true killer was actually the father of the boy arrested in 2008. Question 6. Discuss how this case illustrates benefits and limitations of public understanding of science. The benefit gained from this case have the potential to bring science to a wide range of people and to stimulate their interest in science among the general public, which is children and adults. The science behind this case demonstrates that DNA fingerprinting may be used to reveal the truth, just as it has been shown on CSI, the popular television show. Following that, this science has thus been used to the proof of certain hypotheses or piece of evidence. The purpose of this case is to inspire the general public to use science and technology in their daily life. And as for limitation, the public knowledge of DNA is restricted to applied science, which may assist the public in dealing with issues. This, in some ways, limit the capabilities of research, which we feel can reach larger scope rather than relying on a specific issues at a time. As science and technology grow increasingly popular among the general public, as a result of many of them being sold to other businesses, which then evolve into something that can be used to the market, innovation of science technologies is more likely to be foster popularity than invention. Next is question number 7. Discuss the impact of the CSI phenomenon. The case study impact of the CSI phenomenon is that it has become one of the best shows in television history and has a huge impact all over the world. Furthermore, CSI is successful in introducing science and technology to the general public, as well as raising children's interest in science. Children are easier to influence because they are attracted to something grand and wonderful, such as the CSI phenomenon. This phenomenon does, however, have a negative impact. This case study states that the CSI phenomenon has burdened the prosecution by creating greater expectation about the forensic science than what can be delivered, as well as burden the defense by creating exaggerated faith in the capabilities and reliability of forensic science. Besides, as this phenomenon fails to provide further information on how DNA samples collected should be handled correctly in order to be used, it might confuse the public and other authorities. And the last question, question number 8, explain the prosecutor's fallacy and why it is a problem. Miscarriage of justice are often related to the prosecutor's fallacy. It occurs when the evidence of possibility of innocence is incorrectly thought to match an insignificantly tiny chance that the evidence would arise if the defendant was innocent. As a result, the assumption of guilt has resulted from very impossible innocent answers. Thus, it becomes a problem when the DNA of a suspect that has been discovered at a crime scene creates an issue when it does not necessarily indicate that the suspect is the culprit of the crime. This is due to the fact that there is only 1 in a billion probability that a person's DNA will match another person's DNA. This argument implies that science has very little potential for being inaccurate or incorrect. To summarize, we can see that the case study demonstrates that the curiosity-driven research is an interesting case that can be used to bring additional positive changes to the quality of life in terms of technological and scientific advancement. For example, Alex Jeffries has been able to create DNA and fingerprinting technology, which is being used till today. With the development of DNA and fingerprinting technology and the ability to create more technology in criminal investigation, it has become possible to prove suspects who are committed in crime and to free persons who are not guilty of any crime they are accused of. Aside from that, this study made science more accessible to the public, which in turn increased interest in technology and science among children. That's all from us. Thank you very much.